I can get my slides to go forward here. Like you heard, we will be recording this session. This is for educational and quality improvement purposes. So just by participating in the session, you're agreeing to be recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, if you could just go ahead and disconnect from Zoom. Part of what makes this ECHO so interesting and special is that we are an interactive community. So presenters, stakeholders, community members, we all communicate and we get to support each other. So if we are engaged and ask questions during the didactic and provide feedback for the case, this just makes it even more interesting and engaging for all of us. Case narratives are the best way to solidify our skills learned here during the didactics and receive directly applicable advice. So if you haven't yet, we would just highly encourage you to submit a case narrative. As we're talking about our different cases and just communicating with each other, we would just ask that you could please protect the individuals that you work with's privacy. Just avoid using their real first, middle, or last names or initials. Please do not identify any individual's family members, friends, workers, email addresses, etc. So we're just basically de-identifying examples and situations. If you have a question about this, you can reach out to a hub member if you're not sure. Our hub members are identified by an asterisk in front of their names. So just a little overview. The three key components of an ECHO session are professional development, our didactic speaker at the beginning, and then our case presentations and feedback. Like I mentioned earlier, if you could please go ahead and take a second to rename your profile with your first and last name, your state, your job title, and your organization. We've all been in Zoom for a little bit, so if you have any questions on renaming, just reach out in the chat and we can help you out with that. Again, I think a lot of us have been here. We know how to raise our hands. That's a great way if you have a question. Please use that feature to get our attention. Pre-registration for each ECHO session allows you to receive the materials for each session in advance. If you would like to pre-register, you can do so by reaching out to by emailing us at projectecho@aggies.usu.edu. Sorry, I'm just having my slides will work 1 minute and then not. So thanks for being patient with me. One of the great features about our ECHOs is you can earn professional development credits by participating. To receive these credits at the end, if you can fill out the evaluation form sent to you, and also consider pre-registering for these ECHO sessions to expedite that as well. We have another great feature with our ECHOs called Canvas. So Canvas is a platform we use to put this information on. You can a lot of times have the slides ahead of time and also go back and review the information later. We'll have videos uploaded and some of the different materials provided. So again, you can reach out to Project ECHO at usu.edu and just say you are interested in the Canvas page and we will help you out with that. Our case studies. Again, this is just another plug for our case studies. This is a great way for us as a community to share information about our real life situations. The beauty of this is you can submit a case and have some great discussion and some great ideas come back to you. This is one of my favorite parts about the ECHO sessions. If you submit a case, then we will compile these ideas for you and get them to you. So again, if you're interested, just reach out in our email. Social media, we just like to invite you to follow along. We have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. There's our links there if you're interested in those. And we are looking forward to our presentation today. Again, as an overview, we're so excited to have Julie, Hanna, and Ali Acor with us today from TETONS to do some training for us. So welcome, Julie and Ali. I am going to stop sharing my screen. Oh, I guess really quickly, we have a survey link that is in the chat. If you could just take the time to take that survey, we'll have Shayna post it in and drop that into the chat from time to time. And that will be there available for you to take. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Ali and Julie. Thanks, guys.
Hello. We're just going to get our screen together to share for everybody.
Okay. Can you guys see our presentation?
Oh, yeah.
We can. Thank you.
Okay,
Cool. Oh, well, hold on. Look away. Where did our notes go? We're not so savvy with this slideshow here. Oh, no. No, sorry. I'm messing up a lot.
You're totally fine. I think the PowerPoints and getting it all on the screen is the most stressful thing about presenting. While you guys are getting ready, Adam, did you have a question? I saw your hand was raised. If you do, go ahead and come off mute and you're welcome to ask. Okay, thanks.
So about the contact information and what I do for a living page, is it okay if people don't share it?
Absolutely, only if you are comfortable.
I accidentally I put my email on there in my chat just in case.
What information, I'm sorry, only share what information you feel comfortable sharing. Thank you, that's a great question.
You ready for us?
We are ready. Take it away, guys.
Okay, and you can see the slides okay still.
Yes, ma'am.
We're professional. Yay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Julie, and I am the Program Support Specialist and the Healthy Relationships Trainer for the Utah Developmental Disabilities Council. I am certified to teach individuals with disabilities about healthy relationships and sexuality, having received my certification through Elevatus Training, is the most well-known one, and then also from Mad Hatter Wellness and the Friendship and Dating Program. This work has become my passion, and we are genuinely excited to be here today to introduce our program that we call the TETONS and share some key lessons from part 1 of our 8-week course.
Hi, I'm Alexandria. I'm with the Utah Parent Center. I came into this project in July. Since then, I've completed the Friendship and Dating program through the University of Alaska Anchorage and taken continued learning opportunities with Elevatus curriculum. I'm the co-facilitator with Julie. I'm also able to provide one-on-one coaching with our participants. Together, we set goals that are important to them. We focus on friendship, socialization, romantic relationships, expression, self-advocacy, and boundaries. Most recently, I started the TETONS Talk private Facebook group for current and graduated students. They can continue their relationships with each other there and then also have access to further resources. Okay, so now let's watch a video.
Oh, you won't believe the dad had. It was so beautiful. Casey, who's supposed to be my best friend, promised me that we'd go to the mall after school. Later, she texted me that she couldn't go. So I went with Nicole, my almost best friend, instead. But then, at the mall, just next to the food court, you won't believe who I saw. What? That's right, Casey. She was with Nathan, her new boyfriend. I hate her. I'm so lucky I have you. You're such a good. Now that you're in your teens, you may feel like you want to spend less time with your family and more time with your friends. During this time, some of your friendships may deepen, while others might fade away. And some of your friendships may even become romantic. Being in a healthy relationship Whether a friendship or a romantic relationship can be fun, but it can also be complicated. So here are some rules to follow to make sure your friendships are healthy. In a healthy relationship, each person supports and encourages the other. Real friends want to know what you're thinking and feeling, and they'll be interested in what you have to say. It's okay to have disagreements, even in a healthy relationship, but it's important to do so respectfully and talk openly about it with each other. Sometimes in a relationship, you'll need to compromise. But in a healthy relationship, the same person should not be the one who always compromises. It's important for both people to give and take. Finally, it's important to treat your relationships with care. And if a friend or romantic partner makes you feel small, teases you, or physically or sexually pushes you into doing things that you don't really want to do, then this might not be a healthy relationship for you. Remember, a healthy relationship, whether just a friendship or a romantic relationship, should make you feel good about yourself and who you are. After all, you are pretty great. Okay, so enough about me. How was your day?
Stupid.
Yep.
Hooray, that worked great.
Everybody heard the video, right? Okay.
Okay, that's a fun video that we start TETONS with our participants. TETON stands for Teaching, Empowering, Training on Navigating Sexuality and Healthy Relationships. To begin creating the TETONS program, we took the preliminary results from the Utah State University data findings in order to choose the content that would best fit the needs of the community with people with disabilities. We gathered materials and lessons from Elevatus Training LLC, Green Mountain Self-Advocates, Mad Hatter Wellness, and the Friendship and Dating Program from the University of Alaska Anchorage. We also have handouts and materials sourced from all of those resources and have since created our own slides, our own handouts, activities, and lessons. We did this based on the feedback from our participants during our piloted program that began last year and ran into 2024 as well. Pairing the data findings with lived experiences makes the TETONS program comprehensive and relatable. This approach evolved our program into an interesting, educational, and accessible, eye-catching lesson. TETONS is for any individual age 13 plus with intellectual or developmental disabilities looking to learn and gain knowledge on how to navigate healthy relationships and sexuality for safe outcomes. Our class descriptions, we are currently teaching TETONS in 2 parts. Part 1 is navigating healthy relationships, while part 2 is sexual wellness for healthy outcomes, more like a traditional sex ed class. In part 1, over 8 weeks, we cover consent and communication, different types of relationships, public versus private, gender identity and expression, boundaries and consent, being in a relationship, dating 101, internet and social media safety, identifying healthy and unhealthy relationships, and reporting abuse. Part 2 follows in a 4-week time frame, focusing on the human body, safe sexual activity, sexually transmitted diseases and infections, when to see your doctor and how to navigate those appointments alone, and family planning. We invite speakers to come join us on occasion also. Recently, we hosted Renee Bruder from Heyday Speech and Language Services to consult on neurodiversity affirming approaches, and Erin Miottle, which she's here today, from Peace House, sharing how to report abuse and how to find resources to help. So we're gonna
Go back.
Whoa. All right. A tour through TETONS. Now we're going to take you through some of our content that our participants see in the classes. The program is designed with total accessibility in mind. We teach verbally in a classroom setting. Our class sizes cap at 25 for our in-person instruction. We're able to support those with higher support needs in class, but we also see camaraderie established between students as they begin helping each other out too. We run a slideshow, provide handouts, workbooks, and worksheets. We also reference many short videos like the one that you guys just saw to support our lessons. Some resources we use for the videos are amaze.org, National Council on Independent Living, and realtalk.org.
You're good. Okay, so this slide comes from class 1, and the message and lesson about consent. Consent is echoed throughout the entirety of the program. In our first class, we also collaborate on group agreements and classroom rules. This helps participants buy into the classroom dynamics. It also makes everybody feel like we're all part of the same room and space. Some of our favorite agreements that the class have contributed, which is always one of my favorite parts of the program, are what is said in TETONS stays in TETONS. Don't yuck my yum. We did have to define that. Don't bring anything illegal. Just, you never know, right? Be respectful, and it's a judgment-free zone. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down is the image you're seeing. We use this method of communication to ease the demand of participation in the class. We recognize that our students come to class with varying sensory needs, communication styles, and abilities. We also recognize that not everyone has the ability to communicate through talking. So we feel that this is the most inclusive way to get involvement from everyone.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah.
The slides are not moving along. We are still on the what is Teton slide.
Oh, thanks for telling us.
How do we do that?
I don't know. Reset, maybe?
Okay. All right, guys.
Oh, there you go.
How about now?
Thumbs up, thumbs down emojis. I've got them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling us.
We're all
last
giving you a thumbs up.
We can see that because we're professional with 2 screens over here. Okay, so how do we see everybody? We'll just assume they're doing it. Okay, so with the thumbs up, thumbs down activity, Allie and I are going to take turns saying a couple words or phrases. If you what? Yeah, we want you to participate. So if you like what we say, you're going to give us a thumbs up. If you don't like what we say, you can give us a thumbs down. There's no winner. We're just showing you what we do in our class. So first, I'll go first. Chocolate cake.
If you like chocolate, thumbs up. If you like vanilla, thumbs down. Okay, cleaning your room. Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
It's usually mixed. We usually get a good mix.
That's good.
Sleeping in. I like to
Oh
sleep
yeah, me
in.
too. 2 thumbs up. Chatting with friends. You guys are all here, so.
Me too.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this will be a mixed one. Brussels sprouts.
Music.
Ooh,
This is a fun one in class because
Yeah.
we get a lot of people who want to define the type of music they're interested in, or if they like loud music or soft music.
yeah. It's interruptive and fun at the same time. Okay, pizza. I'm getting the food ones. I wonder what that means.
Video games. You play video games?
Also a fun one in our class.
Mhm.
It's mid or mixed. Okay, last one. Hold on. Scary movies. Great. So that gives you an idea of how we get everybody to participate, even the little quiet, shy ones that are nervous.
Did that slide move along with you guys?
Can you see the relationship circle? Okay, perfect. Okay, so now this lesson is also from the session called Different Types of Relationships. We define that a relationship is a connection between 2 or more people, and that we have many, many different kinds of relationships in our lives. The idea of this handout is that each person fills in names of people, or if they prefer drawings. We've had a lot of stick figures drawn. We've had animals drawn in their relationship circle, with yourself being at the center or the heart of this relationship circle. We review and give examples for each one. Give an example of a close family and friend, a casual family and friend, a helping professional, and then strangers. So we're going to take a look at the next couple of slides. We're going to cruise through them kind of quickly and discuss the relationship, and then what type of touch is okay and where that touch is appropriate. Then we'll bring it all together at the end with another handout that we created with the TETONS program. The first ring, right outside of yourself, is close family and friends. We ask that they draw theirs or write the picture or make a picture of theirs, their close family and friends. And we let them know that these are people who are usually related to you, that you know really well, that you might spend a lot of time with, you might like or love each other, and you might be the closest to those people. Next, continuing with close family and friends, what is an appropriate interaction or touch between close family and friends with consent on all types of touch? And then what type of setting, public or private, are those types of touch okay? And you can see here that we say that it's okay to hug, put your arm around close family and friends, and where that's okay is public and private places. Which brings us to the next ring, which is casual friends, family, and groups. We explain that this might mean casual relationships and connections, but you're not that close to. You might not spend that much time with these people. Some examples of these people would be like the picture here, a basketball team, classroom friends, community clubs, religious groups, or even some of your neighbors. We talk about what type of appropriate interactions are with casual family, friends, and groups, and where we would be able to use those types of touch. We explain that a high five, a fist bump, a handshake is usually most appropriate for casual family, friends, and groups, and always in a public place. Then we go to this stud muffin, who is a helping professional. And again, revert back to our relationship circle. And we let them know that this is a person that might have a job to help you with something. Could be this hunky cop, a paid professional, teacher, police officer, counselor, support coordinator, therapist. And then what type of appropriate interaction between helping professionals would be, again, high five, fist bump, handshake, and in a public place. You won't be doing those things in a private place. Okay, and lastly, strangers. The very last circle. These are people that you would not see. Examples are people riding the train. Some other examples might be other people at a fair or a movie, at a grocery store. And we ask what type of touch is okay here and where. And we just say no, absolutely no touching with strangers, no touching anywhere. All right. Bringing it all together now is this handout that we made together for this TETONS program. And it's made to be followed from left to right, with the top being who, which is the relationship. Column 1 is who, and that shows the category or the relationship. And then the next column shows us the type of touch that is okay. And then, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of small. It says consent needed. We really drive that home all the time. Consent is always needed for touch. Even saying just because you got consent to hug somebody yesterday does not mean that you can hug them today without consent. And then lastly, where, that's where these types of touch are okay. Just like we just showed in all of those other images. Any questions on that? Maybe the end is better for questions. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so while we're still in session 1 with our participants, we talk a lot about communication. Communication, it's an important part of any relationship. There are 3 main styles of communication: passive, aggressive, and assertive. In our program, we focus on assertive communication and using that for advocacy. We connect communication styles to consent and setting and holding boundaries. We also recognize these communication styles come with emotions and can be hard to access when experiencing bigger emotions. The next slide is an example of our emotion sensation wheel and how we connect that with communication. For some of our participants, connecting emotions and feelings can be challenging. So we approach this with talking a lot about body sensations and relying that with the labeled emotion. On this slide, we're talking about fighting fairly in relationships and using I statements. One participant in our recent teens class was familiar with I statements and was able to share his experience with using them in the class. In our recent adults cohort, we followed the lesson that you see at the bottom of the slide. And they were so fantastic at connecting the dots between the I statements and practicing advocacy scenarios. Continuing with communication, we also talk about empathy and recognizing emotions in others. Again, this correlates with consensual activities that they will encounter in relationships. This video you might recognize from Inside Out. The blue character represents sadness. We're going to play the video for you, and you will see a yellow character. She is joy, and the pink elephant is a forgotten imaginary friend. Okay. We are careful never to infantilize our participants, but we do use media examples to spark special interests. This video particularly gets a lot of laughs and attention. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to attempt to play it for you. You let me know if it doesn't work.
Customize my car insurance and I saved hundreds with all the money I saved. Thought I'd buy pills. Hi, honey.
See it?
Bang bong, look at this. Oh, here's a fun game. You point to the train station and you go there. Won't that be fun? Come on, let's go to the train station. I'm sorry they took your wallet. They took something that you loved. Sorry. Don't make them feel worse. It's only what left the driver. I heard you riding her baby into. Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time, we had breakfast twice that way. That Riley had to. Oh, he did. He was
I know, I hate it.
Am I back in?
But we can't see it.
How do I do that?
I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that work?
No.
We were able to watch it. We had a little bit of a hard time hearing it,
Oh, okay. Well,
but that's okay.
it's an example of empathy. I'm sure you get it. And I hope that you've
Yes.
seen the movie. And if you haven't, you definitely should.
It's like
But
the best movie ever.
it really is. And the lesson around empathy and recognize and being empathetic in communication within relationships, again, echoes throughout the rest of the program. So you'll see how we kind of bring this lesson back around. All right, moving on.
Okay. Me again. Okay, we teach a lesson on internet and social media safety. And we emphasize during that lesson that everything shared online becomes public. This lesson serves as an important reminder of the distinction between what is public and what is private. These are concepts that apply throughout our lives and relationships and across various settings. We talk about public and private in its own session as well. We understand the critical importance of online safety, especially given the vulnerability of this community. To better support our participants, Allie and I completed advanced training through Elevata, specifically focused on online dating safety for people with IDP. This training has enabled us to guide several participants through online situations. Unfortunately, before taking our course, we found out 2 participants in different cohorts actually encountered serious financial issues online while trying to utilize dating websites. But we worked with them to understand what went wrong, how to address the situation, how to recognize the red flags for the future. We also stress the importance of being mindful when taking photos, as images can inadvertently reveal personal information, such as an address or a license plate number, which could be misused if it's put in the wrong hands. After sharing steps and examples, personal stories, we conclude this lesson with an activity called Should I Post It? This helps the participants apply what they have learned. I'll share that now. It's kind of amazing. We just go through each one of these, and this is an example of what we do with our thumbs up, thumbs down activity. So they get to tell us what, a photo of you and friends at a park. Can you post that or not? A lot of times this brings us into a really good conversation. And I think that those conversations have one of the biggest impact on our participants, and recognizing mistakes while using social media and all of those things. We found it kind of interesting, or at least I did, that a lot of our participants don't have access to social media. Many of them do want it, or some of them it's been taken away. But we've been able to prepare those that do with some steps, or being their own self-advocates while using assertive communication and asking their support people, whether that's a guardian or a parent, to get access and how they can get access. We also guide everyone. This is just the best and most safe way to navigate internet, social media, and dating online. I do have to say a funny personal story, because I know that you guys will now remember it for the rest of your lives if you ever see this image again. There's an image right here that's highlighted. I don't know why it's highlighted. I accidentally did that, but it worked out for this lesson. We have a person in our class, this last teens group, and she said, "Oh, that's you, Julie." This naked lady, she said, was me. And I posted that. So I made sure to tell her I did not post that. But then she gave me the name Sassy Pants. So the relationship is wonderful. Okay.
Okay, so moving on into our session 5. Session 5 is all boundaries and consent. This is a little over halfway through the 8-week course. We cover consent in our first class, like we talked with you. And we also cover consent at the top of every class. We talk about it. But here in session 5, we really dive deep into consent, how it looks and sounds, boundaries, including setting healthy boundaries for your body and communication, and also respecting others' boundaries. This is an example of how we navigate consent in every class. At the beginning of each class, we cover our group agreements, the agenda, and consent. This is all kind of in the beginning. We recite together, "My body is my own, and I know what is right for me." In the first class, some of the verbiage around consent is hard to understand. But by the time that we get to session 5, we cover topics like blackmail, coercion, sextortion, pressure, force, etc. The session also sets up context for our abuse prevention and healthy versus unhealthy relationships session. That's later in part 1. Here's an activity that we use, talking aloud through how consent might sound, and also how rejection may sound. The class participates well, and they enjoy coming up with their own fill-in-the-blank responses. You can see in yes means yes, we say yes means yes, okay means yes, let's do it means yes, I would love to means yes, yes please means yes, and then they always fill in the blank with some real creative yeses. They also fill in the blank with great nonverbal ways to say yes or to say no. And it's great to see them start to connect the dots and refer all of what they're learning back to their own lives. This is one of our favorite handouts that we also use. This is the FRIES handout, if you guys are familiar with this. We refer to this many times when we're talking about consent throughout the program. The acronym was brought up to us by the Friendship and Dating program from University of Anchorage, Alaska. It's an easy way to remember all of the parts required for consent. After they receive this handout, they're able to go through scenarios of consent or rejection, asking themselves, is this FRIES? Making for a fun and engaging approach to a rather serious topic. Then we are moving on to session 6, which is moving from a friend to sweetheart. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of why participants take TETONS. Most are here, especially in the adults classes, because they're looking for partnership. They want a love match. They want a boyfriend or girlfriend in their life. Session 4 and session 6 really focus on moving from friend to sweetheart, detailing meeting friends and potential partners over shared interests, showing up authentically in relationships, how to flirt, how to show romantic intent, dating 101, and how to fight fairly. We approach these subjects with affirming language and support our students in advocating for their desires and staying true to themselves. This slide here, being together, being me, we found from the Bridges learning system after consulting with a neurodiversity affirming speech and language therapist, Renee Bruder from Heyday Speech Services. She came as a guest speaker and introduced neurodiversity affirming approaches to our students. And for the first time, this was the first time many of them had even heard of that. We use this approach on how they can make friends, how they can communicate in a way that is authentically them. The handout that you guys see here, it says, you get to choose how to be together in a relationship that feels comfortable and natural to you. This means listening in a way that feels natural to you. We never force or teach eye contact, and communicating always in a way that honors your body and emotions. She talked about using AAC to communicate, and one adult participant recognized that using AAC would probably help her when she's experiencing anxiety and panic attacks. So it was really beautiful to see during our break that day, our guest speaker and our adult participant, they downloaded a free text to talk app on her phone and started practicing using this back and forth. So I think that this specific lesson, it really went a long way for many of our participants. All right, here's where we break down how to get to know someone and how to say how you feel about them. During the pilot TETONS classes, teens had many questions around flirting, and the curriculums that we teach just didn't do a great job around defining that. So we introduced a special section on what is flirting, how to recognize flirting, and how you may flirt yourself. Included is also a video from an adult self-advocate describing flirting in their own words. Sharing lived experiences throughout the program affirms our students' own experiences and then connects them deeper with the lessons. During the entirety of the Dating 101 lessons, our participants get handouts with specific step-by-step guides on setting up a date, what to do during a date, and what to do at the end of the date. These guides relieve the pressure of remembering all of the steps around some of the specifics around dating, like who might be paying, the date ending on time, asking for a kiss and waiting for consent at the end of the date. This slide here, it wraps up the whole session with dating safety. Again, this is a handout for the students. They hang on to all of these handouts, and they're meant to be tools that they will use in the future. That they can always come back to this curriculum that they went through as they have new life experiences.
All right. Okay, that brings us to session 7, which is gender identity and expression. We start this subject and let all the participants know that we teach only facts, and we cover various topics within the subject. Gender identity and self-expression is 2 of them. Also one of my favorites. We don't have time to show this, the second video that we have on the screen here, but we introduced this session with a review from the empathy video that we just showed that you couldn't hear very well. And then we play this second video. This girl, is it Renee? Yeah, she talks about respect in general, and it's really beautiful. If anybody would like to see that later, we can share that in the chat if you'd like. And then, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the gender unicorn, but it's wonderful. It's very good to explain. It's very plain language. So we break down the gender unicorn. We go over each area very thoroughly. So if you look at the rainbow on the unicorn, it's labeled as its gender identity. It also shows that your gender identity comes from the brain. That is a full lesson and I think goes over really well. We then explain that your sex assigned at birth is located where a person's private body parts or genital marker is. And that's located on the unicorn. It's the double helix symbol. We explained to the class that your sex assigned at birth is the body part that the doctor who delivered you saw when you entered this world. And Allie did a really great example of showing that in a visual by saying, you know, when your mother or whoever gives birth to you pulls you out, they say, oh, hey, congratulations, it's a girl, or hey, congratulations, it's a boy. That really went far and hit home and sparked everybody's attention. So we explain very carefully and clearly that those two can be completely different, gender identity and sex assigned at birth. In most cases, they match, but not in all. And then next are the hearts and who we are attracted to physically and emotionally. We explain that attraction, all types come from our hearts. They do not have to be gender specific, and that they also do not have to mean that just because you are attracted to someone, either physically or emotionally, that doesn't always mean that you want to be intimate or sexual with them. And then gender expression, simplified, is just what we decide to show the world. That's the outer little greenish dots surrounding the unicorn. We let them know that this is how we express ourselves. We do that through clothing or hair or makeup. We share that one day you might want to wear pajamas all day, or pajama pants to the Walmart. It's pretty common. And then the next day you might go full on glam, but both are okay, whatever you decide to do. We also did an example of ourselves in the class, where one of us dressed a little more masculine and the other one more feminine. Unfortunately, I didn't do masculine very well. The message was received though. Okay. So the entire program, TETONS program, was created with the idea of abuse prevention at its core. When we end part 1 of TETONS with session 8, we begin this session, and then throughout the whole lesson, we offer trigger warnings that the session specifically can bring up very strong emotions and uncomfortable body sensations for the participants. We support them by offering them access to fidgets. We have weighted stuffies, we have blankets, a whole bunch of doodles. We have a calm down space with a blanket on the chair, also water and snacks. We let them know that if they need time at any time, they are welcome to just step out. Just encourage them that they rejoin us. We created the lessons through a trauma-informed lens. We really dive into what healthy and unhealthy relationships can look and feel like. We define the different types of abuse and how to recognize it. If you are in an abusive situation, we teach how to report abuse and what to do if it happens to you, while offering many community resources. Thank you, Erin from Peace House again. We think that these subjects are more impactful at the end. The reason that this specifically is at the end of the 8-week course is because we feel that we have now built more meaningful and trusting relationships, and that has been proven by what comes after this lesson. Beginning session 8, we talk about, or we do an easel activity or a whiteboard activity with the group, which brings our emotion sensation wheel back into play. We ask that they make a list of what feelings they might have with a healthy relationship. We do this with healthy and unhealthy. What are some feelings that you might get out of a healthy relationship? Ultimately, the takeaway from this activity is that healthy relationships, the list that they make, they should all feel good. There should not be any that are negative feelings. Not all of the time, but most of the time. And then after healthy and unhealthy relationships and those easel activity, this leads us into the abuse lesson. After we define these 4 different types of abuse, we explain that abuse happens when one person wants to gain power and control and cause harm to another person. Labeling the different types of abuse, our participants are better able to ask personal questions, and they also share their lived experiences, and we share some of ours. The class discussion during this session we feel like it normalizes talking about abuse openly and honestly and without judgment or shame. That's actually been proven in our classes. Once one person says something, it feels like most people are more comfortable talking about their own stuff. The line between unhealthy and abuse within relationships can be extremely hard to recognize for all people with all varying abilities. This is why sexuality should be recognized as a human experience. Mic drop. Okay. Okay, before questions, if you want more information about the TETONS program, or you want to be added to UDDC's newsletter or UPC listservs, please reach out to Allie or myself. We are going to be offering our program in smaller sessions or more comprehensive, depending on what people's programs need. If you need, for example, if you need one session on abuse, or if you need one session on communication with a bunch of activities and just really great plain language handouts, we are willing to create and provide those. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Is that it?
Yeah, what questions do you guys have? We can take the slides off. That was just like a snippet of what the class looks and feels like. So please ask away. Maybe you guys think this will be helpful for people that you serve or programs that you're involved with.
Would you guys mind linking all your information back in the chat at some point so we can get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't mind. We will do that. I've been talking so long.
Sorry.
Oops.
Erin, can I put you on the spot? Erin came and visited our adults class last Thursday. That was during our abuse, healthy versus unhealthy relationship session. I don't know if you want to share some takeaways from hanging with the class, Erin?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of great takeaways. I was so impressed with what you guys are doing for one. Can everyone hear me, by the way? I'm using a new. Okay, great. Very impressed with the curriculum. We do abuse prevention all the time at our job, and this was the first time I've seen it for people with disabilities specifically. And you could tell how engaged all the students were. Something important to me is you could tell how comfortable they were. I think talking about abuse is something that makes people very uncomfortable a lot of the time. And you could tell that these young adults really felt safe with Julie and Allie. And I think that's really important because that's what leads to disclosures and it leads to open conversations that can happen. And all of the young adults were great. They were so fun. It was such a fun class, and all the activities were very, very relevant and helpful for retention of information. Like the workbook that you guys put together, just phenomenal and a good resource to reflect back on, right? We want to make sure we're showing this repetition when people are learning these topics, and now they have this workbook at home with them that if they're now getting into a relationship, they can refer back to it as, hey, I learned part of that in TETONS. Let me just go over it again. So I thought it was great. Great job, you guys.
Thanks, Erin. It was great to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have questions on Teton or?
Would this be a program that as a provider we could go through to learn more about?
Right now we're just teaching self-advocates, but if we had enough interest for providers, we could definitely gear it
Yeah,
and kind of like a teach the teacher situation.
Yeah, I think Libby might still be on here. We also have, we also really want to create a, how do I want to say this? Now I just lost the verbiage, I'm sorry. Train the trainer is what I guess they'd call it. Eventually taught by self-advocates.
Yeah.
That would be so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there's a question from Kristen Marshall that just popped up in chat.
Yeah, so the question is there a separate section on abuse in the relationship and how to recognize it? This would be extremely beneficial for some of my participants. So I'm assuming that your participants you're speaking about are self-advocates. Our entire session 8, so that's the last week of the first part, is around abuse prevention. And we showed a couple slides from that session. It's about how to recognize abuse, how abuse And unhealthy relationships can feel in your body. So maybe you don't recognize what they're saying is abuse or their actions, but you recognize that your body feels unsafe or you feel nervous around this person. So yes, we do teach that in depth. Oh, printouts. Oh, yeah, we don't have any printouts to share from the program because we would really like to come teach it or for you to send participants to us to teach, but we don't have any to share widely. However, Erin did have a really great pamphlet that she shared with us that I'm sure she could share more broadly. The pamphlet addresses how to have the conversation after abuse has happened. And it was fabulous and really started a lot of conversations within our cohort.
I also think the general power and control wheel is pretty universally used across DV providers like Peace House and is a helpful kind of like introduction. So Kristen, I'm happy to send that over to you if you'd like, just as kind of a starting point. And I can also send over that resource that they were mentioning.
We're actually going to our next group of part 1. Our very next group is to teach part 2, which again is just a 4-week session, and that registration is open now. I put the registration link in there for your reference, but also for Kristen, the next part 1 that we do in January is our first ever virtual. So we're about to do our pilot of our virtual. And that's starting in January. And we are happy to give you the dates or take your information and email you the registration link for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that will be part 1 and then followed by part 2 virtually.
Both virtual.
We love in person,
yeah,
but we recognize that this needs to be spread far and wide.
Yeah, for sure.
Julie, can I ask you a question?
I guess.
Can I take part 2 first, or do I have to take part 1 first?
You can do a la carte, Allie. You can take part 2 and then part 1. You can take part 1, then part 2. You could say, screw it. I know everything about communication and internet safety. I'm doing part 2 to learn about the goods, the sex, and all the things.
Yeah, part 2 is a lot of fun. It's like, thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Thanks for clearing the air. Part 2 is a lot of fun. It is, like I said, more traditional sex education in the way that you would think about it. And we teach what is healthy, safe, and legal always. Participants like to share personal information and personal stories with us. And we love to be here to support that.
My favorite way to start part 2 to all of you is that we very first emailed after everybody's registered, we say, we understand this is silly. The subject can be silly. We are going to laugh. We're going to have a good time. But we have to be silly and respectful. And everybody in our part 2 was so respectful and so wonderful. Questions. We had so many questions, which was super great. I asked a question, what would you like to learn in a in a sexuality class? And somebody replied to me, well, how to have it. So ta-da! Yeah. So yeah, we'll answer that question and all the other kinds.
Adam is also here with us. He just completed part 1 and he completed part 2 over the summer. And Adam, if you feel comfortable, you can hop on and just maybe say a little blurb about your experience. But if you don't want to, you absolutely do not have to. But I'm happy to see you again.
Well, thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for sharing the spotlight. So I am a local coordinator for Neuro-Inclusive Autism Community Coalition, and I was referred to this by Allie. I already know who Erin is. So Tonium, if that's your name. I think the echoes may be beneficial to my coalition board as a resource for us to learn about some sexual education and also how to keep and maintain healthy relationships. We're always looking for some partnerships within our coalition board. Is this something would you be interested in?
Absolutely. I'm going to direct message you my email because I would love to chat with you more about this. I think we could
I
work well together if you would be interested and comfortable.
I put my email in the chat, so you can scroll through the emails and copy that email, and we'll get talking.
That would be amazing.
Well, that's all we have for you, Tony. Unless you got anything else, we'll be here for the case study also.
Thank you so much, you guys. That was incredible. I just feel like this program is so, so important and relevant, and it is powerful to help people with developmental disabilities, empower them. I wish, and maybe there is something like this that was available to all people. Because as you were talking through the slides, I was thinking, I could use that right now. I could have really used it 20 years ago, but I could use it right now too. So I think it's just such an important topic, and it is, I'm so glad that we are giving this to the people in the developmental disabilities community. So thank you for your work on this. This is amazing. So many resources. So just a heads up to our participants today, we have our Canvas page, so all of their resources will be available, because I think all of us probably want to go back and re-listen, pull those slides down with all of those great graphs and charts and all of that. So please remember that that's available. So thank you so much, Julie and Allie. We are going to, I'm going to give a case presentation. So everybody do not leave. This is a wonderful part of our presentation as well. This was a case presentation that was submitted to one of our hub members, or by one of our hub members. After I give it, we're going to break out into 3 groups. So hub members, listen up. I'm going to tell you which group you're in and what your questions are. And then I'll read the case, and then we'll have Shayna split us off into groups till about 120, 125-ish. So you guys will have about 20, 25 minutes to have a good discussion. So here are our questions. So we have question number 1, which is going to be Julie and Allie and Matt. And the question is, how do you have conversations with parents? Question number 2 is going to be Alex and Amy. And your question is going to be, what resources do you know that might be available for Emily and her family? And question 3 is Aaron and Libby. And your question is, what would you do in this situation if you encountered a family like this in your line of work? So here's our case presentation. Emily is a 19-year-old young woman with Down syndrome who has begun to navigate relationships as she transitions into adulthood. This case study explores the dynamics between Emily and her parents, who are unaware that she has a boyfriend. It aims to highlight the need for open discussions about sexual consent and healthy relationships. Emily lives in a supportive household where her parents are deeply involved in her daily life. They prioritize her safety and well-being, but their protective instincts lead them to believe that discussions about relationships and consent are too advanced for her comprehension. The family does not always model appropriate behavior. For example, when they pick her up, they poke her belly, smack her butt. Despite this, Emily is developing social skills and forming bonds, including a romantic relationship that her parents do not know about. The parents' hesitance to discuss sexual consent stems from a belief that Emily may not fully grasp the complexities involved. This viewpoint not only risks leaving Emily uninformed about important aspects of her relationship, but also diminishes her autonomy. Without guidance, she may face challenges in understanding her rights and boundaries. We wonder if the conversation is not started, it will leave Emily with a lack of knowledge about consent and healthy relationships, can lead to vulnerability in her romantic interactions. For her parents, maintaining ignorance about her relationship may prevent them from providing the necessary support and guidance, leaving Emily unprepared for real-world experiences. All right. So we are going to go ahead, and Shayna's going to send us into our breakout groups, and you guys will have about 20 to 25 minutes to talk and discuss, and then we'll pull you back in and have each group share just one point that you were able to discuss. In your groups, if the hub members don't mind having one person take notes, that we'll collect. Yeah, I'll have you send to me by email later. All right, so you should be starting to have those breakout groups open up. So we'll see you soon.